Me personally, I'm glad that Tom Holland's Spider-Man is not going to be in Avengers Doomsday. Now you're probably thinking, Blake, what do you mean you don't want Spider-Man in the new Avengers movie? Are you crazy? Hear me out. I really, really, really did want Spider-Man in a new Avengers movie. I thought or expected him to be in a new Avengers movie. And now it's not 100% confirmed. We don't know for sure that he's definitely not, but we have some obvious glaring clues like, as we all know, everyone has seen the Avengers whatchamacallit casting announcement with all the chairs, and we saw all the different names on who's going to be in Avengers Doomsday. And the obvious elephant in the room, the biggest one, there's some big names left off like Doctor Strange, Wanda, aka Scarlet Witch, right? But Spider-Man, that was the big one. That's the one where everyone's like, where's Tom Holland? Where's Spider-Man? What is going on? And from the moment that they casted Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom, I immediately thought in my head, oh snap, what does that mean for Tom Holland, Peter Parker, who had such a deep relationship with Tony Stark? Obviously, they're going to look the same because it's played by the same actor, right? So I figured that it had to be all about them, and I was just so interested to see what that storyline could and would be, right? And then we hear the casting announcements through the shares, and we don't see Tom Holland's name. But it doesn't stop there. We started hearing rumors that Spider-Man 4, which is going to release about 2 months after Avengers Doomsday, is supposed to take place during the same time frame as the events of Avengers Doomsday. What that means is that when Doctor Doom, when he's doing his thing and, fighting, the OG X-Men characters, the new Fantastic Four, and whoever, the Thunderbolts, everyone that was listening to casting announcements, right? Spider-Man is off doing his own thing in New York City. And the reason why I am glad at the idea of possibly him not being Avengers Doomsday, and now I'm actually hoping for it, is that means we are going to get a street-level Spider-Man movie. More than likely. The way that No Way Home ended with, we don't know who Peter Parker is anymore, and I mean everyone in that Marvel universe, everyone forgot who Peter Parker is. That is such a huge detail that needs to be resolved story-wise. It doesn't make sense to have Spider-Man in Avengers Doomsday with that hanging thread of a storyline that's so huge and integral that we just can't ignore it. So Spider-Man not being in the movie and then having his own movie where we can work out the storytelling aspects of what they left us with No Way Home, which also implied at the end of No Way Home that he was going to be more independent and more street level-esque, having that New York City apartment that we saw at the end of No Way Home. I still want to see that. I want to see a Tom Holland street level solo on his own, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield style Spider-Man movie. But how can you do that in this MCU, especially multiversal, saga story that's going on right now? How can you do that when it's in between all these Avengers movies and this and that? I think the idea and the rumor that's going around that it's taking place during the same times as Doomsday makes sense and leaves room for them to do their own thing with Spider-Man and then plant seeds, whether it's at the end of the story, there's some sort of reveal with all the stuff that went on in Doomsday, or quite possibly a post-credit scene, right? At the very end. I think what they're doing here, what could be really cool, is that they're treating Spider-Man like the Ant-Man in this story, where Ant-Man, as we know, wasn't in Infinity War at all, right? But Ant-Man and the Wasp came out around that time, etc., and there was a post-credit scene that tied together with the events of Infinity War, and that implied that Ant-Man was going to be a huge part of Endgame. And as we know, he is a huge, huge part of Endgame and is the big reason in everything that kind of went down in that story to, with the going into the quantum realm and time travel and blah, blah, blah. He's a big reason why the Avengers are alive. And he's a big reason why Avengers, everyone came back to life. It's because of Ant-Man, right? So I can see them doing something similar with Tom Holland's Spider-Man because I think they also want to save Secret Wars to be bigger and better and more extreme, right? And how about after Doomsday, right? Most of the Avengers and everyone that's in that movie getting killed off. I believe possibly that the original X-Men cast, most of them are going to get killed off, all those names that we saw in the chair. And that's going to leave room for big reveals in Secret Wars, like Spider-Man being at the helm of the Avengers. And then we're going to get Tobey Maguire. We're going to get Andrew Garfield. We're going to get Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. We're going to get everyone else under the sun. So I think it's a lot better for multiple reasons, all the reasons I stated, right? So we can get a street level Spider-Man movie, and to also set up Secret Wars to be so much bigger and better by having Spider-Man be, the guy who needs to take on maybe Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom, right? And we get to have more of that suspense and build up beforehand after watching Doomsday, after watching Spider-Man 4, the build up to finally see those characters, Peter Parker, going face to face with a variant that looks like Tony Stark, the guy he looked up to and admired so much. I think that's going to hit so much harder in Secret Wars after a build-up with Doomsday and a build-up with Spider-Man 4. So to me, I think they're cooking. I think it's genius, and I'm glad. And at the very least, even if what they do with Doomsday and Secret Wars it doesn't end up that well, which obviously, crossing our fingers, I hope it goes well and I hope it is good. At the very least, we're going to get a more possible street-level Spider-Man movie. So even if the Avengers movies flop, which I really hope they don't, maybe that still leaves room to where Spider-Man 4 will be awesome. Because I do think Spider-Man will be good, and it needs to be good. You need Spider-Man to hit. I think Spider-Man hitting is more important to me than Avengers hitting to me, just because Spider-Man's that guy, right? Now, it's more important for Marvel for the Avengers to hit, probably. But at the same time, it's Spider-Man, and I get it. If you want Spider-Man in Doomsday, it makes sense. I'm not going to be mad if he's in the movie. But is it going to resolve the Peter Parker issues? Is it going to, the issues of nobody knowing who Peter Parker is? I think seeing Spider-Man in Doomsday for the first time since No Way Home without resolving those issues, and then he's going to go off and have another Spider-Man movie afterwards, it wouldn't make sense. But it makes sense if Spider-Man 4 is taking place at the same time as Doomsday, and then it builds into Secret Wars and make Secret Wars that much more fire. Okay, so those are just some of my thoughts. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about the news that Tom Holland's Spider-Man might not be in Avengers Doomsday? Do you like it? Do you absolutely hate it? What do you think about the ramifications of the things I'm putting out there? Like, Spider-Man 4 might be more street level because of it, and maybe it makes Secret Wars that much more satisfying and excited. Lots of stuff to discuss. We don't really know too much, but it's an interesting and fun discussion. I'm glad. I think it's a good idea at the end of the day. I think you can make Doomsday, a lot better, maybe not having Spider-Man in that realm to build Secret Wars and have its own thing. Because how are you supposed to have Tom Holland Spider-Man interact with the OG X-Men and the new Fantastic Four that we're just meeting this day? It doesn't really make sense, but maybe if all those characters are in that, have their own thing, fail, right? Then we need the GOAT Spider-Man to come in, right? I like it. I think that's where we're going. But, again, comment down below your thoughts. And also, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you can see more MCU, Avengers related topics like this. I'm going to make plenty more in the future. I'm going to have a review for Thunderbolts when that comes out. Obviously, Fantastic Four coming out this summer. I'm going to do some MCU tier lists, all sorts of stuff for all us MCU nerds, right? I have some Captain America ranking videos. You can go check that out. Explore my channel. I have different playlists. I have some Batman tier lists and, different superhero genre stuff. So subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.